I have nothing but love and respect for Islam Makhachev, and the body of work that he's done in the UFC is unbelievable. But make no mistake about it, when I fight Islam Makhachev on August 15th, I'm going to beat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. I'm going to beat the 2-weight world champion. I'm going to dismantle him. And when I do that, there is no doubts. It's undeniable. I will be the greatest fighter on the planet. My goal is to dominate this division. You become one of the greatest of all time when you eliminate the division. And when you start having to kind of recycle and go through it again. I've already beaten 6 of the top 15. Islam will be 7. I'll be the champion of the world. I think I have about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights at welterweight, and then we move up to middleweight and do it all over again.
Мы с 5 класса вместе на парте сидели, все. Это он тебя, брат, загрузил. Я вообще не при делах, брат.
Аллах, что за красота просто на этой сайте. Нереально красиво.
Mentally, how you can be ready, you know. It's about like now, like everybody do MMA, everybody have good coaches, good gym, good like conditions, everything, you know. You have to do like more than some of this, like more than everybody. You have to be disciplined. Discipline is the #1 things. If you're not sleeping well last night, you're not gonna be 100% in the training in the morning, you know. That's why discipline is the most important things. Everybody have same things, gyms, coaches, sparring partners, but who is a discipline more, that guy have more success, you know. It's discipline, it's not about me, it's about it's all about my team, you know. What our coach Abdul Manap give us all his life when he was with us.
When you open your eyes in the morning, how long does it take you until you think about the fight?
Can I answer that question by getting something? So, to answer your question on how fast from when I open my eyes do I think about my fight, it's as soon as I walk out of the toilet and I just flip it over. 9 days until I become a world champion. As much as I respect Islam, as much as I know how good he is and I know how talented he is, I know that I can beat him if I go out there and do what I believe I can do. Oh yeah, the lads want me to show you this. Here. I got this made a while ago, and I feel like this is something me and you would like. So, that is my Cage Warriors world title that I won in July 2019. And above it, when I got that one framed, I made this frame as well.
Love it.
It's an empty frame that says UFC World Champion coming soon.
Vou fazer a defesa, vou jogar o braço dele, ó, vazando e venho buscar. Faço já o giro. Fez o giro, fechei, ando pra cima dele na pressão. Fechou?
E aí, só aí, ó, Charles do Bronx, Young Garry. Charles agora, UFC.
Sure, this fight I will take more risk to finish my opponents because I like it. Finish my opponents, you know. And this fight, I think, honestly, from the first time when I'm taking him down, I have chance to finish him because I saw his ground game. It's not so good, you know. He have good strikings, long reach, you know, long arm. He control the distance, always go back. But I see when I take him down, His skills, I just have to run in this camp too much because I have to follow him because he runs too much, you know. I know his game plan, we always see his fight and he has same style always. But I will try to catch him, take him down, just what I did with my all opponents. Charles gonna teach him how to tap fast. I can't predict something, you know, but I prepare myself for the hard fight, for the 5 rounds, but I always prepare myself for the hard fight, but sometimes I make it easy. Maybe this time also it's gonna be easy, but I have to be ready for 5 hard rounds.
Of course he would. Of course he'd rather fight Morales, because Morales hasn't been anyone in the sport. He said he'd rather fight Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman has won 2 fights in the last 10 he's had. He said he'd rather fight Pratchett, a man who I beat. He'd rather fight anybody except
Anderson Silva or myself, because I already not beat, but
you're tied. Yeah, so you both have 16.
16.
So you will be the only person with 17 with this one.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I never follow these numbers, but it's cool, you know, when you have longest win streak in UFC. It sounds so good, you know.
And I know you guys think there isn't one, but there is. And that is, who is the better striker? I know in theory. I know that you believe. I know if I was to tell you there's going to be no takedowns in this fight, I don't know anything else. I've got this crystal ball. The crystal only gave me one clue, is that there would be no takedowns. A lot of you would go, yes, Ian's going to kill him. Are you sure? Islam has been put in positions where he couldn't take the guy down, but he didn't need to. He won those moments on the feet. But he was in some exchanges, and if you are talking about a likelihood and you're talking what Islam's preference would be, his preference would be on the ground on top. So if he is a principal in this very scenario, is saying, I'd like to be the ground and on top, he is also saying, I don't want to be on my feet with this guy. So Islam has some kind of a respect toward Ian.
Talking about
because he is currently tied. Islam is currently tied for the longest win streak in UFC history. If he beats Ian Garry, he will have the longest win streak in UFC history. And I got to tell you, I must tell you in fairness, and Islam was very rude to me, but I still got to tell you, weight classes matter to me. When they started talking about the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time, it used to frustrate me, and I go, well, it's between Dan Henderson and Kenny Florian.
For me, if we become successful with Ian Garry and we do it in spectacular fashion, and I'm biased, okay? You know, he's my guy, so I would consider him the greatest, you know, but I think the public will start considering him in that department. And I think if we do it one more time, let's say a Pratis or you know, Michael, you know, then we do that to them, then there's no denying who the greatest of all time is. There's no denying. But let's get by Ian first. Then after that, let's see what we think, then what the crowd thinks. Well, I know what I would think, but let's see what the people think, and then we'll go from there. Because, you know, I'm biased, you know, so I'm going to go with my guy all the time. I always have. You know, we know I'm a little biased. There's no secret behind that.
Avici.
I'm not sure. I mean, it wouldn't put him close to Kamaru and St. Pierre in terms of a welterweight campaign. These are very different considerations, right? But overall, I mean, I think Islam's pretty close. I need a little bit more time to measure the different levels of success and to see. I would need a little bit more time to answer this properly. I apologize because I should have a better answer, but I don't. But I will say that I think Islam is closer to the mountaintop than the discussion around him is. It's kind of funny, right? Because there's usually recency bias where like, so-and-so is like, oh, Kamaru's the greatest welterweight. Well, no, I saw the greatest welterweight of all time. It was George St. Pierre. Kamaru's a firm number 2, though, right? He's very, very, very good. But because he's new, a lot of like the newer fans like it has to be him. Strangely, I don't hear as much conversation about Islam being all-time best, even though I think he is putting together one of the all-time great resumes you've ever seen. When I see elite guys get tripped up, it's often in scenarios like this, where they're fighting a number 1 contender, but the fan base might not really respect the B side, or you know, they might begrudgingly respect that he deserves the title shot, but you know, he doesn't have much of a shot, and they're nonplussed about his offense, and you know, he doesn't have the same level of a distinguished career as the champion by any stretch of the imagination. and you're like, his best win doesn't compare at all to the other guy's best win, you know? So just seems like this vast difference. And what I would say is I've said this before a million times, the hardest thing to do in MMA is to win a UFC title and then stand a post and defend it against the most deserving contender. Because it is not the guy with the most celebrity. It's not moving up the weight class to fight the other champ. It's the guy who is hungry as shit, who is on his climb.
Otherwise, he will lose.
On the ground, there's just no question Islam is going to be way better. So to me, you need to have takedown defense on point, and if you get taken down, you have to have an ability to scramble to your feet or do wrestling get-ups, or, you know, because against Rakhmonov, you'll recall, he just kind of relented. You know, he would fight the takedown, but then once you got the takedown, he didn't really fight it. And so, and it was not much. And so to me, I wonder about that. Like, I think that could be really bad for him. But all of that starts with, you know, takedown defense. And then all of that kind of starts with, you know, distance management, keeping your back off the fence, footwork, jab. Honestly, I really believe, like, people are like, oh, can you really win with footwork and a jab? Well, no, but footwork and a jab and good takedown defense has been like what Sean Strickland does. You know what I mean? That's how he wins. What is
Ian Garry, when he fought Shovkat. And this is the thing that'll be an interesting decider. As soon as Shovkat went for the club, Ian got that foot back inside, which allows him to keep distance. It means that club might be split. And that's how he took Shovkat's back. So he has a natural advantage because of his height. Islam one fight at welterweight against my boy Jack, who, I don't know, I'm out of breath, is a small welterweight. So Islam's now fighting Ian Garry, who's a tall, rangy welterweight, and slick counter. So again, what Ian Garry was able to do to Shovkat was really impressive. And when Shovkat wanted to hike this up, you'll see his foot coming. This is why a lot of MMA guys will hide their foot to the outside to prevent that, right? But this gives Freddie the ability to hike me up. So I need to get a butterfly hook of sorts to make space here. Now, it's harder for Freddie to pick up my heel here. If he picks it up here, very easy for him to get it back. So we can throw it outside. And something, again, Ian Garry has already done this. And we've seen Islam hit it on Jack Della. The second he hikes it up for a club, we can use that leg to frame and make space here. So now I'm out of range. If Freddie were to try and use his foot to club me at the same time, much better for us then.
Of course, he's the underdog against Makhachev, but I truly believe he have a really good skills to beat Makhachev, you know. Of course, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a hard fight. I think if he would the guy like knock people out a little bit more, he hurt a little bit more, would be like less hard to beat Makhachev, you know. He do a lot of points. He don't hurt people, you know. But I think he have a chance, really good chance, like real chance, you know, to beat Makhachev. But it's gonna be a hard fight.
There's 15 pounds that when you go up from 155 pounds to 170 pounds, that's 15 pounds, man. Ian, he's never fought a big, long dude that has a jab, that knows how to kick, that's a longer body.
Move a lot.
I'm always kind of pro wrestling. Like every time there's a wrestler that's going up against a striker or whatnot, I'll always kind of tend to go with the wrestler, particularly if I know their mindset a little bit. But in this one, man, and I'm good friends with Islam. Obviously, I'm not counting this dude out, but I'm just saying, bro, I still go back and I think of some of the weapons that Ian Garry has, and even Ian Garry, man. Ian Garry can take the back very, very well. He's shown that, man. If you're able to take the back against a guy like Shavkat Rakhmonov and then almost finish him with...
And I think what makes Ian Garry Machado so interesting is the fact that his striking is all predicated off of his footwork. And that is the key to success against someone like Islam Makhachev, who's trying to get into that clinch position. And it's one thing to be able to strike. It's another thing to be able to strike and move. And Ian does that extremely well. He's going to have to be on his bike repeatedly. And it's further complicated for Islam Makhachev because of that length that you talked about as well, Ray. This is a guy who's what, like 6'3", 170 pounds. Yeah. He can use those long-range weapons, be it the teep down the middle or the kicks upstairs or those long jabs, to keep Islam frustrated and maybe force him into some bad shots. Now, if Islam is able to get to that clinch and find a way to get on the inside, then, you know, I think he has his way with Ian Machado, Garry.
Islam Makhachev is the protege of Conor, of Khabib. I am the protege of Conor, right? This is the new wave of Dagestan, a more technical on the feet, a more technical grappler than Khabib. I am a longer, faster, more versatile version of Conor. The guy's the pound-for-pound #1 in the world and the champion of my division. However, when you come into my division and you are the only thing that stops me, that is in the way of me achieving my dreams, I'm going to make sure.
Sure, I will go to fishing next couple of days. Yes.
Is the hard work done?
No. Just, you know, I like to change the focus, you know, go some days to somewhere, you know. Last night we also in the beach, we tried to catch shark, but shark is not hungry.
When Islam Makhachev moved up to welterweight, everyone assumed his grappling dominance would translate seamlessly. But there's a detail that changes everything. Ian Garry isn't just tall, he's 15 pounds heavier, significantly longer, and he moves like a 170-pounder who actually belongs there. For the first time in his UFC career, Islam is stepping in against someone who isn't undersized. This is the matchup that actually tests whether his pressure methodology works when the opponent can physically match his reach and speed. Islam's entire system is built on clinch establishment. He doesn't wrestle aggressively from distance. He closes space with precision, gets you against the fence, controls the collar tie, and then works from there. Watch his fights. The takedown comes after he's already positioned you, but Garry's entire setup is designed to disrupt that entry. His footwork isn't offensive posturing, it's a defensive mechanism. Every jab, every lateral step, every kick to the body is meant to maintain distance and keep Islam from ever establishing that clinch position in the first place. If Islam can't get into the clinch, his entire grappling system stalls. Here's where it gets technical. Craig Jones broke down a specific defensive concept that Garry has already used successfully. When a wrestler hunts for the clinch with a collar tie, the defending fighter can use foot positioning on the inside to disrupt the entry angle. When Islam goes for that club, if Garry keeps his foot back inside and frames with his leg, he creates space that makes the takedown significantly harder. He's already done this against Shevchenko. Against someone like Islam, who relies on repeated clinch entries, this becomes a critical system. It's not about raw strength, it's about understanding exactly where your leg needs to be to break the geometry. But Islam has spent weeks mentioning something specific that reveals his game plan. He's emphasized finishing. He said he saw Garry's ground game and identified it as a weakness. This isn't confidence talk, it's a tactical statement. Islam plans to take early risks, force the action, and exploit whatever scrambling problems emerge once he does land that takedown. He's preparing for 5 hard rounds, but he's also mentally ready for the scenario where the fight becomes easier. Against someone with potentially worse bottom game awareness, Islam's plan is to enforce dominance early and establish psychological control. The physicality factor is undeniable, but it cuts both ways. Henry Cejudo and Kenny Florian both identified the same thing. Islam has never faced someone this big and long at welterweight. Garry's striking setup, the footwork first jab, the kicks up the middle, the distance management, is a completely different problem than the smaller, more upright strikers Islam faced at lightweight. Multiple experts predicted this goes to decision, not because Islam can't finish, but because Garry's defensive systems are sound enough to survive the pressure and potentially win rounds through activity and distance control. What separates Islam from average competitors is discipline. He said this directly. Everyone has access to the same gyms, coaches, and facilities. The differentiator is who sleeps better, who recovers harder, who maintains focus when fatigued. That's not generic motivation talk, that's describing a metabolic and mental edge that becomes visible over 5 rounds. Against an opponent like Garry who can theoretically match him athletically, that discipline becomes the invisible system that determines output and problem-solving in the later rounds. Garry believes this is his moment, and his confidence isn't unfounded. He studied Islam's patterns. He knows the takedown is coming. He's trained with Charles Oliveira, someone who understands Islam's pressure methodology firsthand. But belief and systems execution are different things. Islam's clinch architecture is a proven pattern refined against elite competition. Garry's counter system, footwork, jab, leg positioning, distance management is sound in theory. What we're actually watching is two technical systems meeting at welterweight for the first time. One fighter controls the clinch, the other fighter tries to prevent it. That's the entire fight.